Hello, welcome to this Excel tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how to use the VLOOKUP function. The VLOOKUP function is used to get data from one table and link it to another table. If we use the example below, we can see that we have data table 1 has person and age, and data table 2 has person, height and weight. And we could use a VLOOKUP to either put the age in data table number 2 or the height and weight in data table number 1. So let's put the height in data table number 1. So type in equals and then VLOOKUP, and then you'll get a list of 4 different parameters: lookup value, table array, column index number and range lookup. And the easiest way to explain it is to go through this example with you. So lookup value is the value in your first data table where the VLOOKUP was written that you want to look up to. So in this case, we want to look up the value Tom because we want to get the height of Tom and link it into this data table. And then the table array is the array you want to look up in your second data table. So in this case, we're going to select our second data table, Tom onwards. And the column index number refers to the value or metric you want to return. And it's based upon the selection you've done of your table array. So in this case, it will be number 2 because the height and weight is the second column in our selection. If you wanted to return the name Tom, we'd choose number 1. If you wanted to return the weight, we would choose column index number 3. So if we choose 2 for height, and then go to the next parameter, which is true or false. And false means you want to return the value if it is an exact match, or false or true is if it's an approximate match. In this case, we want to return the value only if it's the person's called Tom. So you want an exact match, so we choose false. And then we press enter. And here we have 178. Notice that in both data tables, you have the same metric of person. Now, this is a key criteria for the VLOOKUP function. They both have to have the same metric. So if we look at this, we have Tom here 178, and we go to our second data table, we can see that Tom does indeed have a height of 178. So if we then drag that down, then I can show you another problem with the VLOOKUP. So if we go then to our final selection after dragging down, we can see here that our table array has shifted downwards along when we go down. So this will be 2, this is shifted down 1, and this is shifted down 2. So a common practice is to then lock your table array in place. So then when you shift down, the table array hasn't moved. And this is key because when you're doing things like sums and averages, you will start to get your data will be wrong, essentially. You'll be looking up different values as you go down, and you won't get the right result. So this is all to do with when the value was false. So what happens, how do you use the value when it's true? What happens if this range lookup is true? So for that, we're going to go to our second example here. So in this second example, we have group A, B, C, D, E. We have exam result, and then some marks. Then we have a VLOOKUP false, and then a VLOOKUP true. Just do that. And then that's our first data table. And then our second data table has pass mark 60. So if we just do a surrounding like that to make it simple. First data table, second data table in our second example. Notice here, so if we just then write this VLOOKUP again, so that equals VLOOKUP. And in this case, we're going to choose a value rather than a name of a person. And what our table array is we're going to look at the pass mark. So what we want to do is we want to see how many people actually got the pass mark. You know, what exam result achieved the pass mark itself. And then we're going to lock that in place. And then we're going to have column index number as 1 because there's only one column in the selection. And our range lookup is going to be false again. So recreated a false VLOOKUP. So then if we highlight, notice that we get an error message. That's because we want to get the exact value we've chosen false as the exact value. And 45 is not 60, so it returns NA. So now if we just pull it down, we can see here that when the value does equal 60, we do get an exact value, then the VLOOKUP works. If we don't get an exact value, then it throws up an error. How is this different to a true function? Well, a true function is it relies on sort of nearest neighbor sort of behavior. So instead of using false, we've done the same thing, but we typed in true. And if we drag it down, we can see here that we get two values of 60. So what we've done here is we said that if anything is less than 60, it throws up an error. This error here is because there's no value here. And if anything greater than 60 here, then it has said it is 60. And that's what a VLOOKUP true does. It finds an approximate match for your values. Now, one thing that makes the VLOOKUP true really work and work really well is that if you sort your data first, so notice the exam results go in from 45 up to 68. If you sort them either smallest to largest or largest to smallest, then it really does shine as a way of sort of finding approximate matches. So I really hope you've enjoyed that tutorial. Check out my other tutorials. I've got Python tutorials and Excel tutorials and some Arduino tutorials. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for watching.